that happening, it's not a good thing, to me anyway. And like I said, the taxes have gone up, but our properties have dropped probably 20–25% around that area, as people would know. If taxes go up, and this is still here. So I just wish that they could do something else besides have that in our city. Find another way to help these people. Because like I said, just that bike ride for me from Westpark, and just tour down through there. They're all over the place. They're hanging behind the stores. You see people that are laying by the buses there in the corner, or even when you cross to the bridge. They're just sitting in rocks and everything, and they're sitting there for hours doing nothing. And for somebody to walk around and to see this, just to walk with your children by that, it's breathtaking. You know, I've been a few places around the world, and I've seen that type of stuff. And Red Deer is becoming that way. Red Deer's become a city, yes, but it's becoming a dirty city. Okay, we have to clean it up. And one way to clean it up is get that out of our city. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Christine Stewart. I wear a few hats around here. I'm the Executive Director of the Canadian Mental Health Association. I'm currently the chair of the Central Alberta Addictions Consortium, and I'm also currently the chair, let me get this right, of our Community Housing and Homelessness Integration Committee. So you could say that I'm passionate about individuals who have struggled, have not been dealt the best hand in life, and don't give up. And I believe that everyone deserves a chance to heal and improve. And you can't improve the mental health of a dead person. And that's what we're here to talk about today. I think we can all agree, everything I've heard here is that we have a crime problem, we know that. We also have a huge opioid crisis, which we know. We've never seen anything like this before. Honestly, people used to be able to use drugs and not have the behaviors we see these days with the opiates. It's completely different. But what we're getting backwards is that the overdose prevention site that we currently have did not cause this. These issues were here, which is why Alberta Health came up with the overdose prevention sites and the supervised consumption sites. This is part of a multifaceted solution. In the Addictions Consortium, we wrote a drug strategy that has 4 pillars. We need all 4 pillars. We have prevention. We also have harm reduction in the meantime before people can get to treatment. And then we have enforcement and safety. We need all of those things for our whole community to be whole and healthy. And I also want to remind people that the OPS site is that it's overdose prevention only. What they want is a supervised consumption site, which also has services that will allow to provide that counseling after, some relationship building, referral sources, treatment options. I know we're working locally to support, the Drink Center is trying to get off the ground, that's fantastic. I don't think anyone who supports the supervised consumption site does not support all 4 of those pillars. I want safety in my community. I want my clients to be safe. We want all of those things, and it's not an us versus them, as we've said before. I think I got through my list. So just to remind everybody that addiction is connected to mental health, and we need people to heal, and you can't heal until you feel safe, and you can't heal trauma until you give something to replace it. So if you're using to hide something or to cope with something, until we give you a skill to replace it, you're gonna still use. And we don't want those people to die while they're trying to learn those skills. So thank you.
Good evening. My name's Tim Caldwell.
Get it adjusted, Tim,
Yeah.
before you start. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. I've listened to people tonight, and I feel like people are genuinely speaking from their heart, whether they're for the consumption site or against the consumption site. What I'm hearing is I'm hearing people's hearts. And I personally, I don't particularly agree with the site and giving those people those needles. But having said that, I do respect the people that are down there trying to help them. And from my experience of people that I have seen that have come through and beat this problem, there's no one way that happens, but one way I've seen it happen is with rehab centers. And that's something we don't have. So I'm not really coming here to say whether we should or shouldn't have consumptions, these sites, but I do think we need rehab centers where people can step out and have the supports that they need. And having said that, I was asked to go down and try to help a person down at Teen Challenge, down at Bragg Creek there. And I talked to the director there, and I found it really interesting. He said, you know, Teen Challenge has been working with this problem for years and years and years, but it's getting to the point now where it's like, we're talking really life and death here. Not just for the people on the drugs, but for people in the community. Like the citizens, like a lot of people have got up here and talked about their business and their children. And those businesses and those children and those families need protection too. But one thing I've heard very little of here is that people get angry because they feel the government's got to come up with a solution to solve this. But really, I think the community is a big part of the solution. And what I mean by that is I'm saying that when we need rehabilitation sites, but we can't just expect that when those people go there that they're going to be completely healed and everything's going to be fine. I think the community has to step up, because a lot of the people, not all of them, but a lot of the people that end up on drugs and everything else like that have come from very, very, very brokenness. Like I work with a street church, and I see these people, and there are layers and layers and layers of trauma and brokenness and stuff like that happen in their lives before they even got on drugs. So one of the things I think we need to do as a community is get some rehab centers where it's the government that provides them, whether it's the churches that provide them, or whoever's going to provide them. I think we all need to step up to the plate. But then, I think what we need to do is say, okay, once they've gone through that rehab, that's where the community stands up and says, okay, we're going to support this man or this woman after they've come out of rehab. Because some of these people don't have any families. A lot of us here have had good families, but a lot of these people haven't. Their parents have been in drug addiction, or their families, or whatever they've come through. So as a community, we have to stand up and walk with these people after we've rehabbed them. Not just say, okay, it's all good now. It's the responsibility is on us. It's not on the government.
Hi. I'm facing all kinds of things here. My name's Luke Roy. I'm told I'm supposed to go to treatment due to the fact that I have charges coming up. I like the fact that we got the OH&S. It saves lives. I'm banned from that OH&S site. I use drugs. I'm mad. I'm not supposed to go there, but I still use drugs. I'm fighting all kinds of problems with that. Besides the fact, I'm trying to, come to the fact that treatment, yes, it's an option. My lawyer tells me go to treatment. Okay, go to treatment. Here I'm facing the fact, how do treatment costs money? Who's going to pay for the treatment? This gentleman stating those facts. I find that wonderful. I'm thinking, same thing. I want to see something come up with all this. Like, what comes? I want to come up with a plan where Red Deer has a treatment. Why go to Calgary? Why go to Edmonton? Why doesn't Red Deer have a treatment center? Why don't we resolve our issue here? I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that problem. Why don't we solve our problems here? Keep it in-house? Shucks. We have so much here. All of my friends, all my care so much for all my friends and myself that most of all, my family, my children, my situation. I want to know how the funding is going to come about for me. How can I raise the funding so I can get better, so I can go through treatment? Does it fall in government hands? How can I raise it? Can I go to work to raise it? A job just fell in my hands today. Can I go to work? Can I take my money? Utilize that? Sure, why not? I don't know.
Thank you. Appreciate you sharing with us. Thank you for coming.
And I have been in the healthcare profession for over 30 years. I too had a son that was addicted to drugs, and nobody helped me. But I do work, however, in the community. I've also worked at Michener for numerous years. And part of what our government is doing, I work with numerous people, all walks and colors of life. The government is allowing these people to have an income, which is fair. They didn't ask to be where they're at. But as a person, at any given time in my profession, I can be tested for a drug test. So in order for our government to help these people with their drug addictions and everything else, they're getting AISH, they're getting mental health issues, everything else. So when we're out there trying to help them, and they get sent away to have this rehab, they need to find the problem. We can't just keep giving money unless we have that problem as to where people like me are educated enough to help them. So, we have a lot of homeless people out there that get AISH that do not live in a home, but they're receiving AISH payments. So, why aren't they, and why are we not asking them or making them have a public guardian, public trustee to assist them with all of these funds so that they don't have the money to go and use the funds that they're receiving and yet still living homeless? I don't understand that. Where's our government's head? I watch these people. I care for these people that still live in these homes, that they go out because they have a boyfriend that's homeless and they've got all this free money to do as they please, and yet this person does not, because they're being controlled by living or having to be in an agency that does not just give them their funds freely. But yet other people who are homeless get these funds because they have a mental disorder, and they're selling their girlfriends as prostitutes on the street to get more money because they've already blown it on drugs. Why is it not being controlled? Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Rob. I've been in Red Deer for about 15 years. I came from Toronto. I've seen a lot of different things in my day. What really worries me about Red Deer is the fact of what I've seen recently. Sorry, I just gotta adjust this a little bit. There we go. I've worked and helped out the community in different areas. And part of my job, I do delivery driving. And I work in around Red Deer, and I work all over town. Dodging and weaving people in the middle of the roads, I shouldn't have to do this. Nobody should. I'm tired of hearing us sit there and